of our kids, that we're going to end up with problems that we may not be able to solve no matter how much money we put into it in the future. This was another report that came from a group of the world's leading environmentalists. It was headed by Philip Grandjean, who was head of the Department of Environmental Medicine at Harvard. And what they concluded was the brain is particularly sensitive to toxic exposures during development. All right? The brain is an incredible network that is beginning from skin that involutes over the top of the cranium as the embryo is developing, and then it begins to form all these tangles, and these connections are so intricate. The timing, how things have to go, and how they have to connect with each other is so intricate. Anything that gets thrown into that muddle will mess it up. It can cause serious problems throughout life. They're saying that each neurotoxic contaminant may perhaps cause only a negligible effect, but the combination of several toxic chemicals, along with other adverse factors such as maternal stress, decreased thyroid function. As we talk about this, you're going to see a vast number of substances in our current home environment that affect thyroid function. Maternal stress, thyroid function may trigger substantial decreases in brain function that may predispose to developmental degenerative diseases. When I was in medical school, we really thought that the placenta was a barrier, that it was there to protect the baby. We now know that the placenta is there to draw nutrients into the baby and actually concentrates nutrients. Mercury, for example, is concentrated tenfold in the placenta from the mother's bloodstream. A lot of toxicants are concentrated. Right? And these things will cross over into the baby. So this was a report on body burden from the Environmental Working Group. And they looked at 10 babies. They randomly chose 10 babies from 10 different hospitals around the country. And they looked at 413 different chemicals, found 287 of them in these 10 babies, an average of 200 industrial chemicals in each of the kids. And what were they? They were things that 180 of them caused human cancers, 217 neurotoxins, 208 caused birth defects, pretty serious stuff in the kids. All right, so beyond the bad news. So where do the substances come from? One of the most prevalent sources is our plastics. Phthalates are substances that have been developed to soften plastic. I'm looking around. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember the old model airplanes. We used to make model airplanes from plastic, and this was a hard shell. It would glue it together, and it would stay there. There was nothing pliable about it. If you broke it, if you dropped it, it would break and shatter. Well, that was fine for making model airplanes, but you couldn't do too much else with it. They found that if we added this substance called phthalate, and there's a whole bunch of them, that it would soften the plastic and make it more pliable. So we've used these things in hundreds of products now to make them more flexible. We put them into nail polish, into hairspray. We put it into that wax wrapping around cheese so it will bend around the cheese. It also will hold smells together, so the perfume smell will stay longer. So it's in perfumes and in things that we want to hold the smell in, that new car smell, for example. All right, these are known hormone disruptors. A hormone disruptor interferes with the hormone function. These interfere with androgens, with testosterone-like substances, and they will cause genital problems. How many of you have kids with hypospadias? Okay. That's a low percentage. Normally when I give this talk and ask the hypospadias, it normally comes up around 15% of the people in the audience. Hypospadias is when the urethra, the urine tube, instead of going all the way through the penis and coming out at the fireman's cap, fireman's cap? You guys are tough. It comes out along the shaft, so it points at the shoes instead of into the toilet. That is caused by phthalates, amongst other hormone disruptors. It also interferes with the thyroid hormone receptor. You know the recycle symbols, right? We all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We never knew what they were. It's just which one would be collected by the guy when he comes around on Tuesday. All right. What I've been developing over the last 6, 8 years is a resource guide. We started off just telling people, go change what you're doing and, go home and find a way to do that. And I realized that for anybody to go home and do something, we need to be able to know where to find it, what to do next. So we started off just keeping records of resources, where to find things, how to understand what these things mean. That has grown from a half a page now. It's a 4-page document. It's in your handout, but I really encourage you to go to my website. I don't collect any information from it. Just go there. The website is identified on the front. It's stocktonfp.com. Go to educational material and open up the resource guide. That's upgraded. We update it every 3, 4, 5 months. And they'll have active links when you do that. So you can just go and pop in and out of anything you want to learn about. If you want to find anything from safe building supplies to how to take care of bed bugs or cockroaches, it'll give you resources. It will also give you a plastics guide where you can understand what these symbols are. So the first 1 and 2 are generally the softeners in your water bottles, these soft bottles that we carry around in. They are intended for single use only. If you wash them, if you reuse it, the phthalates are released at a more rapid rate. If they are heated, the phthalates will be released into the water or contents before you buy them. I promise you, the trucks are not air conditioned when they ship it to the grocery store. V stands for polyvinyl chloride. And the other 2, 4 and 5, are mostly hard plastics. They might be in some of your milk containers, but more things like Rubbermaid kind of dense stuff. Right? But all of those, the first 5, are all phthalate, amongst other things. Number 3, polyvinyl chloride, was studied earlier this year, where they looked at the polyvinyl chloride flooring in a mother's room and how likely it would be that that mother would have a baby with autism. And again, there was a direct correlation. Right? So the plastics emit their contents. The vinyl chloride releases its content. Mother's absorbing it, baby's absorbing it, and we're getting neurologic problems. Styrofoam. That's actually a plastic. It's a polymer of styrene. Styrene is made from benzene, which is a known carcinogen. When you make a polymer, the individual monomers, the bases, will always be there. So in the polystyrene, there will always be styrene monomers. There will always be benzene. So we've got carcinogens in those styrofoam cups. 100% of humans are now testing positive for styrene. These are estrogen mimics and thyroid hormone mimics. They're also neurotoxic, as well as being the benzene being a carcinogen. The absorption of the styrene is increased by the higher fat content of the food. So like the creamer in the coffee would increase the absorption of styrene. By alcohol, lemon juice, like in your tea, and just the heat of the content. The hot coffee is going to increase the styrene. The lid that you get if you get your styrofoam cup, the lid, if you ever look on that, it's actually, when they list it, it's number 6, right? Which is styrene. So styrofoam can be in a hard plastic as well. Yes? We're going to try not to do too many questions, but I'll break occasionally if I can. Yes, yeah, that's your vinyl flooring. Oh, we're going to update my, that was Obama getting back to me. What? Cancel? What did you do? Just control escape, okay. Every time I talk about styrofoam, or? Yeah, let's start over again. Let's try again. Go back to styrofoam, see what happens. Okay, so that's number 6 on the 7-hit parade. Bisphenol A. Okay, so we talked about softeners. Bisphenol A is actually a chemical that was originally developed by the pharmaceutical industry as an estrogen mimic. You know, in pharmaceutical, we don't want to give a woman real estrogen. We want to give them some sort of a chemical that looks like estrogen. So this was one of the things that they came up with, but they found that it was so toxic that they actually discarded it. Imagine the pharmaceutical thought it was too toxic to give us. So they discarded it, and it was only by accident that a researcher dropped some bisphenol A into liquid plastic. And when it cooled, it became this really hard, dense substance. So now we have something that hardens plastic into something that's much more durable. Like those Nalgene bottles, right? Those are bisphenol A hardened. A lot of the baby bottles have bisphenol A. The food containers, these tin cans, we don't want to be exposed to tin, so we line them with a resin that's hardened with bisphenol A to protect us so we don't get tin. And a lot of the dental sealants, not all of them. In fact, you can, if you want to get your kids dental sealed, that's fine, but talk to your dentist to get you one that is bisphenol A free. That's available. You can get bisphenol A free dental sealants. It's found in over half the canned products that were tested at levels high enough to cause birth defects, and this was really shocking. The substances that had the highest level of bisphenol A in them were these baby-friendly things like chicken soup, ravioli, and infant formula. A California research group studies plastic bottles and found that bisphenol A was leaching from these 5 brands: Advent, Dr. Brown's, Evenflo, Gerber, and Playtex. And I am listing them for you because they have been asked to pull the bisphenol A from their baby bottles, and so far they have not done so. Born Free did pull it out. They have a now bisphenol A free baby bottle. Unfortunately,